This is a story called How to Forgive. After my divorce, I had a lot of pent-up hostility, animosity, resentment toward my ex-wife. And I reached a point where I wanted to get over that anger and resentment, and I decided that I was going to forgive her for all the things that she did. And this is how I did it. First of all, my inspiration for forgiving my ex-wife came from a woman I saw interviewed on Dateline. She was an older woman, like in her 80s, and 40 years earlier, her daughter had been kidnapped and killed while the family was on a camping trip. Some psychopath came up in the middle of the night, cut the tent, literally cut the tent, reached in, grabbed this little girl, 8, 9, 10-year-old girl, kidnapped her, and killed her. She was found dead later. The guy was arrested, the guy was convicted, put in prison for life. The reason why this woman was on the news or was on Dateline was because she had decided on her own that she was going to forgive this man who killed her daughter. And the reporter who interviewed her said, well, how can you do that? How can you forgive someone who did such a horrible thing to you? And she said, I'm not doing it for him, I'm doing it for me, because she'd been carrying this burden around with her for all these years, this burden of hatred and anger toward the man who killed her daughter. And she came to the conclusion that she was going to forgive him. Not personally, she never wrote him a letter or called him or anything, she did it just for herself. So I thought, well, if she can do that, so can I. So I thought about it, and the first thing I did was I wrote down, this is my therapist's suggestion, I wrote down on a piece of paper everything that my ex-wife did to me, all the things that she did to me over the years that we were together. And it took 2.5 pages of notebook paper, just like that. I was able to come up with 50 different things that happened during the marriage. And then he never told me what to do with it. Once I made the list, my therapist never told me what to do with that list, but I figured it out myself. I left the list open on my kitchen table, just in case I came up with some other ideas, things that I hadn't thought of. And I didn't. So after about a week, I said, you know what? I'm done. I've made the list. So I took the paper. This is the first step in how to forgive. I took the 3 pieces of notebook paper off the book, took them outside, crumpled them up, put them on my grill, and lit it on fire. I burned it. I burned the list of all the things that she'd done to me. That was the first step. And it felt great. I mean, I felt completely relieved when I did that. So that was part of it. The next thing I did is I analyzed my relationship with my ex-wife in what I thought was an objective manner as opposed to subjective. And as an objective as an objective manner, I thought this woman who I've demonized, in fact, I wouldn't even say her name. Her name was Sharon, but I wouldn't call her Sharon, I'd call her Shannon, because I was too afraid to say the name Sharon. I decided I'm going to stop demonizing her. I'm going to humanize her. So I came up with this idea that my ex-wife was not a monster, this is my own decision, was not a monster that I thought she was, but she was a human being with a flaw, okay? Her flaw was she had a hateful personality. And it wasn't just me. I mean, you can ask any of her friends, any of her family, any of her coworkers, everybody knew her reputation. She had a hateful personality. So I took that objectively and I said, oh, here's a human being who has a flaw. The flaw is a hateful personality. And I compared her to other human beings who also had flaws. For example, if you met a man who was born with one arm, you would say, well, that man has a flaw. He only has one arm. But you wouldn't be angry about it. I mean, you wouldn't say, I hate that man because he has one arm. Of course not. It's just a flaw. He can't help it. That's the way he was born. And I applied that to my ex. I said, she's a person who is a human being who was born with a flaw. And the flaw was hateful personality. And when I did that, when I came to that conclusion, I said to myself, I'm going to forgive her. And sure enough, it worked. I felt relieved. I felt unburdened. And that's the story of how to forgive. Don't forget to read my book, Broccoli Time by Dante, available now on Amazon Books.